And then they either wait around or come back.
They're editing.
I think our most exciting lot is Vivien Leigh's presentation script from Gone with the Wind, and it was presented to her by David Selznick, who produced the film. It wasn't her working copy, but it was the copy that he gave her as a memento of the film. One of the biggest lots we have is the earliest known pairing of signatures of John Lennon and Paul McCartney. They signed a guest book at some sort of event, likely a wedding, in 1958 when John was 18 and Paul was 16. And John Lennon's wife, who was then Cynthia Powell, also signed it, so she was in attendance as well, and that's a fun piece.
Signing is John's future wife, Cynthia Powell, on a separate sheet. Includes their names, addresses, and a comment.
Okay. We also have some Beatle birthday cards, for lack of a better word. They were actually cards created by the four Beatles for someone who was with them in India. Some kid who was kind of hanging out with them, and they created, his name was Colin, and they created cards for him. One is signed by John Lennon, one signed by Paul McCartney, and then George and Ringo's were drawn by George and Ringo but not signed by them, so that's kind of a fun lot. And we have a John Lennon to-do list that he wrote around 1972 to his assistant, and it just has a list of things he wanted his assistant to do, like go to the dry cleaners, go pick up food from the supermarket. It's kind of fun. And we have some Beatle photographs never before seen. They were snapshots taken by someone who had some sort of association with the band. The person, unfortunately, wasn't a professional photographer, so a lot of them are blurry, but there's still some great shots of the Beatles no one's ever seen before.
What's the estimate on the photos?
The photos are
And you know,
They just take their stuff back.
the house reserve is 50% of the low, but I would imagine that lot.
Shot him and his wife.
We have Elvis Presley's deed to Graceland, which is really nice. He signed it, and his mom and dad signed it because they all bought Graceland together. So that's a nice piece, very historic, because Graceland will always forever be associated with Elvis Presley.
seller Ruth Brown Moore, dated 26th day of March 1957. Elvis paid for Graceland.
Latched on Elvis and just kept feeding the machine, you know what I mean, even though he knew that he was addicted to pills. And
We have Madonna's date book from the mid-'80s, and every single entry is virtually filled out in her hand, just outlining what she did for that year. Many famous people are mentioned. Sean Penn is there many times. Sandra Bernhard, who she was friends with at the time. Herb Ritts is mentioned a lot, who she worked with. She worked out every day. She has her workouts noted. It's a fascinating book.
ready and go. There's Phil 212 New York. All right, this is Madonna.
All of our auctions are open to the public. Anyone can participate. They would have to call us and set themselves up to register to bid. They could be an absentee bidder, a phone bidder. They could come live and bid in person. And anyone can come to the viewings. The viewings, or the previews we call them, are 2 days before the auction, and they can come see all the property in person.
TN.org, and then we have another one that sometime.
Yeah, she's still a big star, and you rarely see a lot of Barbara.